So my presentation is on music production. This is just a hobby I have right now. This is what I'm doing when I'm not doing my physics homework. This is usually what I'm doing. This is my buddy Ringo on the drums, and back before like stuff was digitized, you would have people playing instruments into a microphone. That led to really unclean sounds. But as things started to progress, you have people playing the notes, the MIDI notes. I forget what MIDI stands for, but it's a digital note. It sounds a lot clearer than if you were to just play it into a microphone. You have the digital audio workspaces, which are like the popular things you see them all the time. There's a slide on here with a picture of one of them. Logic and GarageBand, those are the Apple ones. You have to kind of transfer in between the two. And Ableton and Logic are just, you can do Apple or Windows. This is FL Studio, I believe, and this looks pretty complicated, but there's only 4 tracks on here, and a lot of time you're going to have more than just 4. This is the MIDI controller. So this is, a pretty small instrument, basically. You've probably seen videos of these. You press the buttons, they make a drum sound. There are a lot of different ones. There's the other one, then there's this keyboard one, which also has the little drum pad on it. This one's really expensive, I think. These go for like $200-300. The other one was $100. I don't own the other drum pad. I just do keyboard. And then the other equipment you're going to need, obviously, if you want a microphone. You can get as good or as bad of a microphone as you want. Obviously, if you're going to put vocals into the music, you need one. And you can rent a studio, but you don't need to have like a professional recording studio to get it sounding clean. There's all these different components of production. You got songwriting, instrumentals, vocals, mixing, and mastering. Obviously, you don't always need the vocals if that's not what you want. And there's a lot of differences between the genres in terms of how you're going to produce the music. For example, hip hop, you're going to want a lot of drums, a lot of 808s, a lot of bass. Pop, not so much. EDM, you're not going to have those vocals most of the time. And music theory, very complicated, but if you want the music to sound good, there's generally a structure you want to follow. You got chords you have to put into the music to make it sound good. Sampling, this is a big one for hip hop. Basically, you take recordings of other songs and you put them into your song, but you mess around with it, so that sounds a little bit different. And it's the biggest in hip hop, but it's in a lot of pop music too, with other like drum beats, for example. This is a guy in the studio. Like I said, you don't need a studio in order to make it sound good. There's this video clip of Travis Scott in his house. He has like a blanket over a microphone. He's under there, and it sounds good. There's a lot of cool stuff you can do when you're producing. A lot of producers, Metro does it, Pierre does it, Logic does it sometimes. You have the transitions between songs, and it's difficult to do inside of the software because you have to basically have the 2 songs side by side, and then you split them up once you're done with all of them. This is mixing, so obviously I don't have that, but there's a lot of different things you have to put into the mixing. Make it sound good. You can pick a sound, and there's kits you can plug into the software, and you can do all these things: EQ, compression, and reverb, make the sounds into a different sound. Between genres, you have differences in mixing. For rap, you're going to want, like I said, the bass. You're going to want to have a lot of reverb in that. And I found something interesting when I was in my car, like the different notes for bass, they shake the car a different way. That's the waves and all that. Mastering, you're going to have to master your music, otherwise it's going to sound bad. You're going to want to fix the audio levels of everything before you send out as a finished song. You're going to want headphones because that's the best sound quality. You're going to be able to hear like all the imperfections in the music and all that. And I have an example up here of My Life, the new J. Cole song. I think the mastering on this song is very bad because you can't really hear the 21 Savage verse. And it's just another example of why you need to get all of it right before you finish an album or finish a song. That's the last slide. It's probably so good.
Do you mix music with Benny Bro?
I do